Aloha, this is Emily T. Gale for KLA TV, and we're having a wonderful day out here at the Mitsubishi Electric Championship at Hualalai, the season opening event for the Champions Tour. They have to have earned their right to come play in the event. 40 players earned that right. It is the coveted position to come out here and play in the Mitsubishi Electric Championship. We just watched the leaders tee off, David Frost and John Cook. We're going to be walking around talking to fans, spectators, the people that run the tournament, some of the players. And if you didn't make it this year, we hope this will give you that excitement to come on out next year for the Mitsubishi Electric Championship at Hualalai. To say hello to Brian Goyne, the tournament director of the Mitsubishi Electric Championship at Hualalai. Brian, 18 years? My goodness, what a legacy this tournament has left for the Big Island of Hawaii.
Well, it's a great event, and it's a great way for the Champions Tour to start their season. And, of course, always starting here is so special. So, yeah, I've been fortunate enough to be around a long time with this event and starting the year off here. And, boy, this year has been no exception. It's been very, very, very special.
Well, you and I have worked together for the last 18 years, and we were saying the other day with the volunteers, it used to be done on a legal pad and a pencil, and now everything's so high-tech, and the volunteers have become so savvy and so experienced. They're organized under the umbrella of the Rotary Club of Kona. A lot of money has gone into the Big Island community through the Rotary Club of Kona Community Foundation. What is it, over $700,000 now to date?
There, yeah.
And, it's a season opening event for the Champions Tour. They have to have earned their right to come here, and it's almost like after the Super Bowl when they say they're going to Disneyland, the players in the Champions Tour are like, I'm going to Hualalai.
That's exactly right. And throughout the year, they talk about it. They tell each other, when a player wins, it's like, boy, you're going to get a chance to go to Hualalai now. So it is special. And again, to your point, the Rotary Club and all the volunteers, you could not do it without the support of all those volunteers who give up their time to come out here and help us. And the fact that we turn around and can give some money back, to charity through them is a real special thing about the Champions Tour, that we're going to leave something here. It's not just the player getting a trophy. It's also some charity money staying right here.
Well, to our viewers, you may not realize it, but the PGA Tour is coming close to $2 billion that has been raised for charities, and that's more than all the major league sports together. And that's not what the individual players do themselves. That's what the PGA Tour has done in terms of donations through all their tournaments. Unbelievable legacy again.
Yeah, it's a special thing about this sport, that you basically get a chance to run tournaments in different communities, and each one of those communities, the more involved, the more tickets that are sold, the more things that happen, they actually get the benefit from that. So that's across the board on PGA Tour events, and clearly we start the season here, and hopefully we'll have a nice donation at the end of this year's event, and we'll continue to grow that number.
Well, some of those monies have gone to refurbish the soccer fields down at the Maka'eo Community Park, the kidney machine up at the Kona Hospital. All kinds of groups have been beneficiaries of the monies, but one of my special groups is the Big Island Junior Golf. Mitsubishi Electric sponsors the Big Island Junior Golf, and those of you that were out at the tournament yesterday might have seen them. They play a little tournament on the Saturday every year at Hualalai Resort, and then they come over here, they get autographs, they respect the game, they've learned it, and what a plus that has been for junior golf on the Big Island. Comment about that. And the other one is how the families bring so many people. Jay Don Blake brought 19 people last year. This year he's got 23. Everybody comes with their families, so it's not just a very special tournament for them, but it's the vacation for the families.
It has, and this year actually Steve Elkington, this is his first Champions Tour event. So he actually had his birthday party. He just turned 50 in December, and he had his family from Australia, his family from his Texas ties. They had somewhere close to 19 people here as well. So it's a great place for the families to come enjoy this beautiful island, and to be able to spend time together while the player's not on the golf course. And it's just an ideal start to the season.
Now, the Mitsubishi Electric, these scoreboards, real-time scoring, absolutely every year the high tech that was being introduced to the world of golf is beyond any other sport, I think. The scoreboards this year, you're giving all kinds of trivia. Talk a little bit about how much the bar is raised every year with the technology.
Well, I mean, again, the real-time scoring is so important, and it's something that with these scoreboards now, that used to be glow cubes that flip-flopped, and now this Diamond Vision and then Mitsubishi, not only sponsors this tournament, but Mitsubishi Electric, provides those scoreboards for us on both the PGA Tour and the Champions Tour. So it's a great partner to help us, inform the fans. We have a lot of information. And this sport's so unique. It's not one ball, you follow one ball. Today there's there's basically 40 balls out there. You can't follow it. These scoreboards mean more, than they do even at a normal sporting event.
I was amazed yesterday at the trivia that was being put out on the scoreboards, right down to somebody was hitting from the 11th fairway, right down. Little factoids, did you know that Olin Brown's father was from Chile? All these things that I think are really interesting, so we all not only find out what kind of players they are, but get a little bit more background. And the beauty of this tournament, 18 years, is we've all made friends, whether it's with a caddy, a family member of a player, people like yourself, Kelly Fleer, the tournament manager's done such a great job over the years. I just picked up a hitchhiker this morning. He just sent me a text. Hitchhiker John, he's from Hilo. His car broke down. He hitchhiked all the way over, and he got to his volunteer thing on time. He just sent me a text.
Good.
But, it just expands. It touches people. He came here. He's got a friend that came here from the mainland just to work the event. Talk about the volunteer effort as well.
Well, and again, the volunteers, I mean, without them, you couldn't have this. You couldn't do a tournament of this stature. You would never be able to leave money for charity. And these volunteers really take such pride in what they do. And again, they come together and they do so many different things that you don't even ever see. Everybody sees the marshals and you see the person carrying the sign, the standard bearer sign. But, the volunteers that are, they're working at the admissions gate. They're working, behind the scenes throughout the golf. They're making sure that the volunteers have water. So they're constantly doing so many different things, and it takes so many of them in a great coordinated effort. And the volunteer leadership here is just super. And again, the Rotary Club is a great partner.
A couple names to mention: Chris Hazard, Larry Webb, and Alan Clark, the president of the Rotary Club this year. He at one time was in charge of the volunteers, but it was a little too much for him this year. But there's so many that come. Bill and Nancy Verbrugge have worked the press room for 18 years, very experienced. Some last thoughts: Brian Goyne, tournament director of the Mitsubishi Electric Championship here at Hualalai. Last thoughts to our community out there who didn't get a chance to be here, but maybe saw it on the Golf Channel. Beautiful broadcast.
Well, yeah, and this year we actually added some new visuals with the Golf Channel. I mean, you see an airplane's flying over, giving us some beautiful overheads of the Big Island. And again, I think it's a special time of year. I know that everybody's busy coming out of the holidays, but if you've never been here, make sure that you try to come out next year, because this is a special time. And to be up close to Tom Watson and Fred Couples and Tom Kite and Hale Irwin, you don't get a chance to do that a whole lot. And this is a special time of year for them, and you can get really close.
And not only up close, but boy, they're so accommodating, signing autographs, talking to people, telling stories, letting people listen in on the stories they're talking with their old friends about. And just recently, some of the Champions Tour players went up to Nanea, did a fundraiser for the Hawaii State Junior Golf Association. Just one more example about how the Champions Tour players contribute outside of their regular duties in the Pro-Am a couple days during each tournament. They went up there, they raised over $200,000 for the Hawaii State Junior Golf Association. Michelle Wee is a product of the Hawaii State Junior Golf Association. That was on their time, so kudos to Mary B. Porter King, Jim Saunders, and the number of Champions Tour players that were up there contributing their time.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about.
So, Brian Goyne, it's always a pleasure to see you every year. I don't know how you do everything you do. Brian is in charge of all the championship management of the PGA Tour. So, where's your next stop?
My next stop will be in Los Angeles for the Northern Trust Open, so Riviera PGA Tour event.
And we have a bit of something in common. Brian was he was the tournament director of the Ford Seniors in Detroit, so we have a lot of mutual friends from the media and in Detroit. And best of all, he says nice things about Detroit because he was there and he loved it. So right. Brian and I from the Mitsubishi Electric Championship at Hualalai, the 18th year, the final round. What a beautiful weekend it's been for the Big Island community. We both say aloha. And now we're with Kelly Fleer, the tournament manager for the Mitsubishi Electric Championship at Hualalai, the 18th year. And Kelly, he may be from Maui, but he's a big islander too, because he puts a lot of time into this island to make this success an event. Kelly, welcome. Talk a little bit about the volunteers. I know they're a very special part of your efforts.
Aloha, Emily. Thank you for your time and all the support you give us, but our volunteers are wonderful. We have approximately 400 volunteers that come, just like the whales, they migrate back to Hualalai every year. And they are mostly veterans, only about 25 new volunteers this year, so we have many returnees. They love what they do. They exude the aloha spirit. They are so professional in the way they act out on the golf course and off the golf course. And without them, this tournament just wouldn't happen.
Well, you mentioned you only have 25 new ones. The great thing and why the PGA Tour has so many nice things to say about the volunteers, organized under the umbrella of the Rotary Club of Kona, here at the Mitsubishi Electric Championship, is that they do come back every year and they're good at what they do. This isn't something that you just show up and kind of there and sharing some aloha. You share the aloha, but you have very important duties, every one of them.
Yes, there's probably about 24 different departments, and they each have a chairperson, and neither one or all are any more important than the other. They're all important, and each chairman of each department does a great job. That's
just one area that Kelly Fleer, tournament manager, is responsible for here at the Mitsubishi Electric Championship at Hualalai. You have a wonderful crew that comes, I think, under the umbrella of Pete Rolfing, and sets up all the ropes and the signage, and talk about that because they come in the week before. People don't realize what a massive task that is to get all the ropes, everything set up for the TV cameras. It's a logistical puzzle that every year there's some changes to it because there's some changes to the resort. Talk about that. This
year was really an exceptional year because of the weather at Kapalua. Not all the tournament equipment was able to make the barge. There's 2 barges a week. One leaves on Tuesday from Maui to the Big Island, and the other one doesn't leave until Friday. So the equipment is normally here by Friday of the advance week, the week before our golf tournament. But this year we didn't get a lot of our equipment until Tuesday of tournament week. And much of that was television equipment and generators. So we had to make the adjustments and make sure we could get this golf course set up, which we did successfully. My crew is outstanding. They're all 17-year veterans. Many of them are from Maui. They're construction guys, and they're very good at what they do. I don't have to even tell them anymore or instruct them. But this year was an interesting year, to say the least, but we can't control the weather. And so we just do the best we can, and that's all we can do.
And what a beautiful job. I just dropped a volunteer off this morning out at the volunteer and spectator parking, and that in itself is a logistical challenge that you have done so smoothly. I was so impressed with the signage and all the volunteers that were there directing us. It's a huge area because you've got a lot of people that have to come and go, spectators, hundreds, a couple thousand spectators, and all the volunteers in parking spaces picking up their box lunches. I mean, every day it's a what do I want, an assembly line, but with a lot of aloha and precision.
Yes, it's not a machine. It's definitely people helping people, and what the spectators and the golfers and everybody that's on the outside that's participating, they don't really know what's going on the inside with the logistics and everything, but the goal is that is the goal, that they wouldn't need to know anything that's going on inside our logistics and our operations. It's not our job to be out in the forefront. Our job's just to make things run smoothly and keep that little machine oiled. And we've done a tremendous job this year. My hat's off to our volunteers. My hat's off to my operations team and all the staff from Hualalai.
Now, we talked about the money that's raised for the Big Island community through the Community Foundation, Rotary Club of Kona Community Foundation. Yes. Over $600,000-$700,000 over the years?
Well, I think we're at about $850,000, and we're nearing the $1 million mark. And once we get to that mark, I'm sure we'll have a little birthday cake or a little celebration cake. But that money goes right back into the Big Island community, to Hilo, to Kona. to the fire department. So it all helps the residents of this community.
We talked earlier about the Big Island Junior Golfers. They're my favorite group. I love how proud they are being sponsored by the Mitsubishi Electric Championship at Hualalai, and they come here and get the autographs, and they respect the players. They have their little tournament at Maunalani in the morning. The monies that are raised for the Mitsubishi Electric Championship here at Hualalai come from the Pro-Am, all different aspects. But the Pro-Am is really important, and the Champions Tour players, they give 2 days for Pro-Am, playing with their amateurs, spending the day with them. Huge contribution that they give to the tournament.
Well, I think the pros have, after 27 years of the Champions Tour, you know, previously to that it was known as the Senior PGA Tour. Now it's the Champions Tour. I think the players really understand what it takes to make sponsors work, title sponsors, and Pro-Am players, amateur participants who pay a reasonably sizable fee to play golf with pros, which is many of their dreams. And so they know they need to make dreams come true for the amateur golfers. They also know that they have an obligation to Mitsubishi Electric, to Hualalai Resort, to the Hawaii Tourism Authority, to all the big investors into this golf tournament. Out of that comes their purse. Out of that comes television production, which broadcasts this tremendous resort and event all over the world to over 120 countries and 6 languages. And I think it's very important that they know that that purse comes essentially from our title sponsor, and so they know where their bread's buttered. It's not a chore for them. They enjoy it. This is a family here at Hualalai. It's 17 years. That's a long time to be in one place, and the players love it here. And again, they consider this one big family, and Mitsubishi Electric's been a wonderful sponsor for us.
And some of the players, you know, it's really fun to see some of these players come back. They have to earn a right to play, but if they've won a major championship, they come back for 5 years. And that's always nice to see some of those players to repeat. But that's what they go out there and play for, to win a tournament and get a spot in the Mitsubishi Electric Championship every year, the season opening event on the Champions Tour. Years back, you know, it was kind of the season opener. The players saw it as a little bit of a vacation and a way to sort of groom their game as they got into the season. But now they are right out the gate with these low scores. The competition on the Champions Tour is phenomenal now.
The beautiful thing about the Champions Tour is that you go era by era with the players, because once they turn 50 years old, they're eligible to play on the Champions Tour. So we had the Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer era, Gary Player, Lee Trevino here at Hualalai, and then we moved into the Tom Watson, Jay Haas, Tom Kite,
Dana Quigley
era, and so every year the Champions Tour gets refueled with new names. Next year, or this year, Rocco Mediate and some other new names will be on the tour. So each year the Champions Tour kind of refuels and replenishes itself with new names, and those new players inject new energy. Now we've got the Fred Couples,
John Cook, David Frost.
The new guys, they're the new kids on the block. So that's one of the beauties of the Champions Tour.
And the great fun of it is when you see the players and after they play the round, they're so accommodating to the fans, getting autographs, taking pictures. But you also hear them telling stories about who they were roommates with in college and who they were friends with when they played on the PGA Tour, and how much fun they're having rejoining some of their associates or fellow PGA players now on the Champions Tour. So Kelly Flair, tournament manager, it's been a pleasure working with you for 17 years, or 18? I thought it was 18. Here at the Mitsubishi Electric Championship at Hualalai.
Aloha.